Hi guys and welcome. I'm Enigmius and this is episode 8 of the Builder's Guide to Feed the Beast. It's also part 2 of 2 for our large-scale Minecraft Jewel Factory. If you recall in the last episode, which was a really long time ago, we set up our magma crucibles with our tank. We went over all of that in excruciating detail. And we also got magmatic engines to power them in the short term until we get the redstone energy cells set up. And then you can switch it over to the conduits if that's how you want to do it. Now today, we have to build the energy cells and the conduits. And you might be thinking to yourself like, geez, 2 things we have to build and you made us wait for a whole new episode? Yeah, because they actually require a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a complicated process, but it's a little bit more involved than a lot of the things that you might encounter elsewhere in the game. So we're actually going to head upstairs and do that now, because all of the machines are upstairs. Get up here. See my elevator? This is my minecart elevator. You want to see it work? It's like, there. That's as far as it goes. Until red power is released and I can wire it properly, that's my elevator. Will help you go up 1 whole block as long as you turn it on. So we're going to fly up here all the way up to the machine room. Here we are now, just like the last time. First thing we had to make was the Buildcraft wrench so that we could smack our magmatic engines and get them to work again after they had overheated. We need to make another tool. It's a really good idea to make this one. This is the Crescent wrench. It is, I believe, exclusive to thermal expansion. And again, it's not expensive at all. It's a silver ingot and 3 iron ingots. It's actually a little bit easier to make than the Buildcraft wrench because you don't have to make the gears beforehand. So it's not expensive. It's a good thing to have. You'll need this or a Buildcraft wrench. I think the Buildcraft wrench works for adjusting the input or output on the conduits, as well as picking up the redstone energy cells without losing the energy in them. And we'll talk about that when we get towards the end of the assembly process. Now, we do need some machines that are exclusive to thermal expansion in order to make the cells and the conduits. Basically, I'm just going to refer to it as cells, but understand that the conduits basically share the same materials. They're just a slightly different recipe. The 2 machines that we'll need to start with are an induction smelter, which is basically like a furnace. It has the option to receive 2 material inputs. That's why we need it specifically, is because we're making electrum ingots and hardened glass, and both of those have 2 ingredients. The electrum ingots require pulverized silver and pulverized gold, and the hardened glass requires pulverized obsidian and either pulverized lead or a lead ingot. And we'll look at that when the time comes. Now, in order to make the pulverized bits for the silver, the gold, the obsidian, and the lead, you need a pulverizer, which makes sense. I did try this recipe with dust from a macerator put into the smelter to see if it would make electrum with that, and it does not. So I'm confident in suggesting that the pulverizer is a required piece of equipment. That will get us the materials that we need to make the basic frames for the conduits and the energy cells, and then we need to charge them with liquid redstone. And it's not the same as loading them up with Minecraft jewels with the engines. The final process in the crafting is actually melting redstone in here to make molten redstone, and putting the molten redstone in the tank of the liquid transposer, putting our frame for the energy cell or the conduit in here, and then it loads it up with the molten redstone, and you get the finished energy cell here, ready to be charged with Minecraft jewels. So this is a magma crucible, just like what we're using to make our magma out of netherrack. I like to have one just for making molten redstone for this, not because I expect to be using it a lot, but because it's not expensive to make, and it's just a lot simpler to have one dedicated for this purpose. So if I ever need it, I know where it is. I don't have to worry about whether or not it's sharing a task with something else. It's just there and I can go use it. And I showed you in the last episode the configuration and how we can set this so that when it makes the molten redstone, it automatically and immediately pipes it over into the tank here. I don't have to worry about any buckets or pipes or anything like that. So that's why they're side by side. And in this case, 2 electric engines, and I've got a magmatic engine here. It takes a little while to make the redstone molten. So I'm going to get that started now, and then we'll take a look at the recipes for the pulverizer and the induction smelter, and then we'll do that. We'll get the materials ready. So we just put this in here, and you can see, fills it up, carries it over. It's not particularly expensive in terms of energy, but I am still trying to empty these lava tanks. So we're going to turn on this magmatic engine as well and just give it a little bit of an extra boost, because once this depletes, it will actually slow down quite a bit. You can see this is immediately, as soon as it finishes, one redstone liquefies into 50 millibuckets, or 0.05 buckets of molten redstone. And that's why when you're talking about the redstone energy cells, you need 2,000 millibuckets, or 2 buckets worth, in order to convert it from the frame to the redstone energy cell. So like I say, it's a good idea to get it going as early as possible. This actually isn't going to take as long as it otherwise might have, but that's okay, because I only use that for molten whatever. So back up here, the pulverizer, let's just take a look at the recipes for both, because they're not particularly demanding. Pulverizer, and here's just, you can see all the different things that you can pulverize with it. It's not particularly complicated. And it is a piston, machine frame, the redstone reception coil, and the flint. The piston, the machine frame, and the redstone reception coil we went over in the last episode. The only difference between this recipe and the magma crucible is that it uses flint instead of nether brick. So not particularly costly to make the pulverizer. And for the induction smelter, there's only so many smelters in the game, so we'll go with that. That's actually kind of cool. Auto smelting fiery pick. That's terrifying. I don't like that at all. So same thing, a bucket, machine frame, redstone reception coil, and sand instead of flint. And that gives you your induction smelter, and that's what's required to make the ingots once you've got the pulverized bits. Now I actually want to make at least one more redstone energy cell for myself, so that's why this is good timing. And I have some leftover pulverized stuff here. So I've got pulverized lead, and I've got pulverized silver, but I need pulverized obsidian and pulverized gold. So I'll take, why not? I'll take 2. Now, one thing that, while I think about it, the one thing you want to keep in mind is that this is the beta version of Feed the Beast that I'm playing right now. The recipes and the yield, like how many you get out of it, is going to be changing when the pack is updated to the full 1.4.5 version of everything. The thermal expansion recipes have already been updated if you're using a later version of it. So, for example, when we're making the conduits, the base recipe that I'll be using makes 8. The new updated version will only make 4. So you just want to keep in mind, if you're seeing slightly different yields or maybe even slightly different recipes, just use not enough items. Make sure that you're on par with what's required, and you don't get too many surprises. So the general concepts are going to remain the same. It's just a matter of making sure that you're not expecting something that isn't actually going to be there if you're playing after the pack goes from beta to the final release. So 2 gold ore and 2 obsidian should be plenty for this little example of how they work. And it's not complicated. If you can run a macerator and a furnace, you should have no difficulty making this work. You can see it just turns it into 2 pulverized gold per ore block. The same thing with the obsidian. I'm pretty sure it's 2 pulverized obsidian per obsidian block, but we'll find out momentarily here. It's a little bit slower to do the obsidian. Oh, so it only does 1. That's good to know. So I'll have to make 2 more. Maybe. Let's see how much hardened glass I have. I'll just leave that for a second. We'll run down here and see if I have any other hardened glass kicking around somewhere. As a matter of fact, I do. But I'll show you how to make it anyways. I won't have to pulverize 2 more obsidian to do it. So here we've got our pulverized obsidian, and that's going to go with pulverized lead. And then we've got pulverized silver going with pulverized gold. So let's do that. We'll just leave this guy behind. So the silver and gold in the induction smelter are not working. Oh, here we go. Are you telling me that I did it wrong? Or maybe Electrum. Oh, Electrum blend. That's what I did wrong. Okay. Let's do it like this. Right, crafting table, and that turns it into the electrum blend, which is actually not bad. You get the full 8 out of it, and then I think you can just run this through. I think you can just run it through any furnace. Get this out of there. Yeah. So for the electrum, obviously, it's been a week or so since I did it for myself, but you just combine the 2 different kinds of pulverized material in your crafting grid, and then you can put them in any kind of furnace or smelter to make them. It's for the hardened glass that you need. There we go. That's why you need the induction smelters, to make the hardened glass with the obsidian and the pulverized lead. We'll just give a quick demonstration. Yeah, so very, very straightforward, minus the hiccup. We're going to leave that. So we've got that. We know how to make these. We know how to use them. We know what the materials are. And now for the actual items themselves, redstone. If we go to the empty redstone energy cell in not enough items, you'll see it's actually showing you the graphical user interface for the liquid transposer, and it's saying it needs 2,000 millibuckets or 2 buckets, 400 Minecraft joules to run it while it's charging it, and the energy storage, empty, will turn it into a redstone energy cell. So we want to click on this energy storage, and we will see that it requires an electrum ingot, 2 lead ingots, a redstone conductance coil, which is 2 redstone and an electrum ingot, and then we got to back it out here, and then the energy storage frame is 4 hardened glass, 4 electrum, and a diamond. So let's get down to the business of making these. We'll dip into my stash of diamonds here. We'll do 2, I guess, because I'm feeling extravagant. Then we can do that and these. And then we pocket crafting table. So we've got 2 storage frames. I'm making 2. You can make whatever you feel you can afford and whatever you want to charge. Remember, you are going to have to also provide the magmatic engines for each one of these that you want to charge it with, unless you want to do it with electrical or whatever kind of energy floats your boat. So I need to make the coil things. Got plenty of redstone, not worried about that at all. There we go. We've got the conductance coils. We've got the frames. We've got that guy, and I'll bet you that I'm out of lead. What a disappointment. I used a ton of lead making batteries to get my factorization charge from the roof down to the basement. I want my lead back. We can actually do this down here. It'll be faster. Fortunately, I have an emergency reserve. I don't even remember where I got it, but I've got it. So that's all I need to make this work, I believe. There we go. Energy storage empty. Energy storage empty. Now, just like that, we've got this guy has gone through all of the redstone. Well done. And you can see it's all over here. It's 3,200 millibuckets. So if I only need 2,000 to do one of these, it should go immediately. Yeah, you can see it disappeared. It's charging. And voila. That's our redstone energy cell. I'm going to stuff this guy in here. And we'll get some more redstone to feed it. I'm a little surprised. I guess the first time that I was making these, I was excited because I wanted to get to work on it, and it seemed like it was taking longer than it actually was. Or something. I don't know. All I know is that was quick enough for us today. So we've got the redstone energy cell, and now what we want to do is make some conduits so that we can use the energy cells stored Minecraft joules to send stuff to other machines that want them. So just like the energy cell, we first have to make the energy conduit empty, which is 1 hardened glass, 1 electrum ingot, 1 hardened glass, 2 electrum ingots, and currently, this is what I was talking about. This recipe currently makes 8. Apparently, in a later version, it will make 4. That version is already out. It's just we're playing on the beta pack for Feed the Beast, and it won't be updated to the 1.4.5 versions until everything is ready. So that's something to keep in mind. So we'll just make 4 of those, just for giggles. Do I have enough hardened glass? Yeah. 1 of those, 2 of those. There you go. So 8 energy conduits, and then we can just jump over here, take a look. 2,000, right. So this will be full enough shortly. So now we've got 2 energy cells. And then these, again, just like the energy cells, they have to be charged. And they go from the energy conduit to a redstone energy conduit. And it's ready to be used. So all we have left to do is basically take these down to the basement. And we're going to hook them up. These are going to be the ones that I use to, you know, if I set up quarries in a remote location or whatever, I can just, you know, swap redstone energy cells in and out to keep them running without having to worry about remote motors and fuel and engines and all that other stuff. So that should be fine. Those will kind of fill up on their own. Much as I want to waste the lava, I don't want to be having to carry a wrench up from the basement. That's good. So down we go, back into the basement. The only drawback to putting in the rails for the elevators now is that, first of all, obviously the elevator doesn't work, but also they act as ladders, so I can't even fall to get down quickly. I have to kind of wait and go ladder speed. So down, down, down we go. So in this case, I might put motors on these at some point in the future. I'm undecided. So for the time being, the goal really is to just kind of make sure I'm leaving myself enough space to do what I want to do with it. So we'll set up a conduit here. We'll put the energy cell on top. And I've got my jetpack, thankfully. So that I can go like this. Put a conduit here and one here. And we'll put another energy cell. And now if I do decide that I want to put motors on these in the future, there's enough space between them. I just have to knock out the conduits and the motors will fit in no problem. And I've left enough space in behind that I can run the pipes for the lava to feed the engines if I do decide to put them in, as well as the jacketed cable so that these can be on the same switch as everything else when red power comes out. So just a little bit of planning ahead. It's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things if you do decide you want to make some changes later. But the one thing that I'll point out to you is if you want to break these down, like for example, say you wanted to move this. This is the advanced diamond pick, and it takes a few whacks to get this thing to break off. So these are, by design, I think, not at all easy to remove. However, where did I put the rest of my conduit? Anyway, this is the Crescent Hammer. If you decide you want to remove this without, let's say I had some energy stored in it and I wanted to move it somewhere else and use that energy, if I just break it down with a pick or a drill or something else, it loses the charge, it loses the energy. So if you shift and right click with the Crescent Hammer or the Buildcraft wrench, it pulls it out for you so that you can use it with the stored energy. And I think it works with, does it work with the conduits as well? It does too. That's awesome. Oops. So that will save you the hassle of wasting all your time trying to break these down. If you want to do it quickly, you can just use the Crescent Hammer and shift right click on the conduit or the energy cell and it'll pop it up for you immediately. I just learned that today. Now I just want to quickly, I could have sworn I left some conduits around here somewhere. And I don't know where. Oh, I bet you I left them up here. I'll just take a quick peek up here in my factorization room. See if I left anything there for me. Nope. But what I can do is I'll take this lever because I can use that for one other thing. I want to kind of get you guys set up with news that Red Power won't be out until, you know, maybe Christmas-ish at the absolute earliest. It would make sense that you're not, you know, ruining your own fun by setting things up in an inconvenient way. Do I have any blocks with me? No. I'm so unprepared. The hell is wrong with me? So I found the conduit that I had. It was in a chest upstairs, and it wasn't even in a very smart chest. So I also found the gold waterproof pipes that I was looking for the last episode when I said I had a lot and then had to make more. So that'll teach me for putting them in the wrong spot. So you can see here I basically set up the conduit, finished setting it up so that everything is wired together. And the one thing that I wanted to show you is if you look closely, that little gray thing that kind of looks like an arrow pointing at the redstone energy cell is in fact an arrow pointing at the redstone energy cell, and it indicates the direction of flow when you're sending energy here and there. So in this case, this is set up how I'd want it, because this is supposed to be an energy cell that I charge here and then take somewhere else to supply power to something. But just to show you how it works, if you want to change the direction for whatever reason, you just have to right click on it with your Crescent Hammer, and you can see it changes the direction of the arrow on the conduit. So it's really, really straightforward, but it's a nice thing to be aware of, is that you can change the direction of flow. I probably shouldn't even have this conduit between the two cells, but what are you going to do? So there's one other thing that I wanted to show you guys, and it's more for convenience sake until red power comes out, and that is a quick and dirty way to control the flow of energy, or sorry, to control the redstone signal on your motors, so that you don't have to go into each individual UI and click and then, you know, click and then click on this to turn it on and stuff. You can just basically put a block. In this case, I'm using cobblestone. You just shift click to put it beside an engine without opening the UI. And then you put a lever on it, and when you turn the lever on, it actually will send the redstone signal to both of these. And it's just a quicker and easier way to turn them on. If you had 4 engines like this setup, you could put another block here with another lever. It's still not, you know, super convenient, but it's easier to manage 2 levers than it is to manage 4 UIs just to get the engines running and turn them on and off. So that's the one trick that you guys can maybe hopefully take out of this. When red power comes out, I will probably be doing probably 2 episodes, just going through all of my facilities and updating them with all the goodness that red power brings to automate and wire and do all those other things. So in the meantime, that's a little bit of a convenience for you. So that's it. That's our large-scale Minecraft Jewel Factory episodes, plural, I guess. You can expand this as much as you have room, as much as you have want. There's a diamond and some gold involved in the recipes, but they're not hugely expensive to make, and you just kind of have to decide what you need. If you find that you don't have enough energy, you know, add more cells, add more engines, whatever you need to do, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about setting up engines everywhere you go in your factory, that, you know, your facility, when you've got machine blocks that demand Minecraft jewels. It's late. It's time to go. So the next episode, we're going to be talking about upgrading last try, I swear. So I found my conduits. They were in a chest that made no sense. I don't know why I put them there, but I found them and finished, you know, connecting the energy cells to my existing grid so that the power from the cells that have engines connected to them will be able to flow to these, and I can charge them and then take them out to the field and do whatever I want. Now, there's a couple of things that I wanted to show you. One, if you look up here, this gray thing kind of looks like an arrow facing in towards the energy cell. Actually, it is an arrow facing in towards the energy cell, and it lets you know what direction energy is flowing. Now, the reason for this is if you want, for example, in this case, I want to charge this and take it somewhere else. I don't want the energy that's here to be going out and topping off any of these that happen to be empty. So that's why I've got it set up the way it is. All of these conduits will be sending energy here, and realistically, I'm just going to pull them out now. These shouldn't even be here. I don't need to be sending energy between the two. So now this is only going to receive energy. It's not going to send it out anywhere. So the way that you change it is you just right click it with the hammer. And you can see it's now, you know, energy will come out this side. You click it again, now it's all going back in. So that's one little tip to keep in mind when you're getting this all set up for yourself if you're not clear on why the energy is going somewhere somehow. That's cool. The other thing, again, just as a convenience until red power comes out. When red power comes out, I guarantee you I'll be doing at least 1, probably 2 episodes just going through my facilities and updating everything with red power wiring and pneumatic tubes, just because I love red power for that kind of thing. In the meantime, it would be nice if we had a little more convenient way to toggle our engines, and the easiest way I can think of right now, really, is put a block of some sort. In this case, I'm just using cobblestone beside the engines. You see I've got it so it's touching 2, and then put a lever on it so that when I flip the lever, it powers up the 2 engines, and then I can turn them off just with 1 flip, And then for these two engines, I can put a block, you know, cobblestone, whatever, down here with another lever. And it's easier to manipulate two levers than it is to go through the GUI for 4 engines to get them started and turned off. So that's one tip. Like I say, once the red power gets added, this will be updated to a more permanent and infinitely more convenient solution. That's just something to get you through. So that's it. That's our large-scale Minecraft Joule factory in a nutshell. The nice thing about it is you can expand it as you need. If you need more Minecraft Joules in your facility, you can add more cells and more engines. It's not a big deal. In the next episode, we're going to be doing a final upgrade to our Industrial Craft EU power grid. Whatever you're still using, whether you're doing geothermal generators, you're transitioning to solar, whatever you've got, we're going to do one more upgrade to the power grid for that. We're going to use an MFSU and some transformers so that we don't blow up our machines. And we're also going to do a mini segment. I'm going to do a little demonstration of how to set up an automatic crafting assembly line, if you will. There were some questions that came up about how to do that, and also how I managed to make all of the bricks and various different things that went into this facility, because if I had to craft them all by hand, I'd probably still be doing it. So we're going to do a little mini segment on that as well. So I hope you're enjoying this series. I hope it's helping you. If you want to be notified when the next episode is added, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and take care, guys.